Hey guys, and welcome back to MichowaCrochet. Last week I told you about some new yarn I got and about a project I was going to make. I thought this week I could do a review on this yarn since I've never used it before and it's something I wouldn't normally use. So first off, I'm going to take you down to the table and so we can get a closer look at this together. This week, let's talk about Bernat Suede-ish. Last week I was telling you how I had ordered this yarn for the honeymoon bag that I was planning on making. The honeymoon bag, just a reminder, is made by Tamara on Moogly blog, free on her blog. You can also find free tutorials here on YouTube. So not affiliated by any means, but just a big fan, and I was very excited about using the bag, about making and being able to use the bag. So this yarn, last week I had said it doesn't have a lot of squish, but I think it's more like the type of squish that bounces back is what's lacking. I mean, it does have squishability. It's more though that it's not like a plushie where you're going to squeeze it and it's going to kind of come back. So I had a heck of a time getting this yarn. I couldn't get it anywhere locally. I did end up buying it at Amazon. Then I had to deal with all the Amazon stuff, which I don't even want to get into. But let's take a look at this yarn. Let's take a look at this ball band and talk about the makeup of this yarn. So like I said, Bernat Suede-ish. It is 3.5 ounces. It's 100 grams, 179 yards. It is a bulky weight 5 yarn. They recommend a J hook, which is what I've been using so far with it. When I did my, the first side, when I did side 1 of the honeymoon bag, I got it in Cypress. Something to keep in mind, if you have to buy it from somewhere like Amazon, where it might be really hard to get something in the same dye lot, does have a dye lot. So there may be some variation in the actual color if you don't buy enough all at once. So that's kind of a bummer, kind of a downfall, but I don't think that's a total deal breaker though for me. If you end up with a little extra yarn, you just shove it somewhere in your stash. So I have had a chance to work with this. Like I said, I used the J hook. This is, let's start on the side. This is actually the wrong side of the material. One thing I really liked about this is that instead of being a bunch of strands that split sometimes when you're crocheting with it, it's like a very thin piece of material. I also noticed too, something I was concerned about was as you're crocheting with it, is it gonna like stretch and lose its shape? But it doesn't. Like it holds its shape. It doesn't have a ton of give where it's harder to keep your gauge consistent. That's something I was concerned about because I thought, well, it kind of looks like a ribbon, is it? And then it looks like it could be really stretchy, but they're stretched to the pattern, but that's because of the type of stitches, not the yarn itself. The yarn itself is not giving me a whole bunch of stretch. So, like I said, this doesn't, being a thin piece of material, doesn't split, which is definitely a winner in my book. And when I was crocheting with it, I was just impressed how smooth it went, and for being a bulky weight, sometimes a bulky weight for me is really hard on my hands. This wasn't at all. Like, I did this up in one day. Really, if I would have had that time that day when I started this part, I probably could have gotten the entire bag done. I also love the texture really shows through, and the yarn really can shine. So, here's the other side. This is actually the right side of the material. And I mean, the texture on this, I hope it shows up as well on camera as it does in real life, because the texture is beautiful. It really makes this bag. And like I said, it's got stretch to it, but not so much that I'm worried that the material is going to be overstretched, like if I put heavy stuff in it. Now, anything with crochet is going to have stretch, and if you're carrying a bowling ball, yes, it's going to lose its shape and it's going to stretch out. But I think a reasonable amount of things you'd carry in a purse, I think it's going to hold up well. So this yarn is beautiful, soft. I love the color. I like how it works up. The biggest thing for me, why I couldn't give it 100% my stamp of approval, is how hard it was to get my hands on it. That's really hard for me to get past because, like I said, if something happens, you run out of yarn, you're not probably going to get the same dye lot. And then there's going to be some kind of variation in your project. And I mean, I've been there before. I don't know if you have, but it's such a bummer because sometimes it's such a small like difference that you don't notice when you're working up the fabric. But then when it's all done, you get it out in the light and you're like, oh, that's like a shade off. So this is beautiful. I'm looking forward to finishing this up. I'm get the other side done and have a complete bag. So bottom line, I think the material's beautiful. I think I paid about $10 a skein, which I would do again because I do like it that much. But I'm not sure how much I will work with this in the future because of how hard it was to get my hands on it. So if it's something for you easily to get your hands on, or you're very patient and find the right place to get it from, I say totally go for this. But being how hard it was to find, I'm not sure I personally will be working with it again. Now, if I happen to be blessed with finding it, I would definitely make stuff out of this. One of the first things that came to my mind, I mean, a bunch of home decor things, but I was thinking this would be really beautiful to crochet like a cuff or other jewelry, other fashion-y products, other accessories and jewelry ideas. I think it'd be beautiful for that because it does have a softness. It would feel nice on the body, but at the same time, it's going to hold its shape pretty well. So I will have to come back and show you the results when I get the whole bag done. Thanks guys for checking out Bernat Suede-ish with me. Let me know if you've ever tried this yarn, if you liked it, if you didn't like it, and tell me your thoughts in the comments. Until next time, make sure you like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you'll know when my next video launches. Take care.